On today's Taste Texas, we're making something I call Drunken Pasta and Shrimp. And you're in for a treat as we celebrate our 30th show. The blooper reel is full. It's got good laughs and entertainment. Continuing your job over there, we're gonna take it, whoa. Pull up a chair and join us at the table. Welcome to Taste Texas. I'm Amy Kushner.
And I'm Garth Blackburn.
And we are moving on to some wonderful recipes today. What are you making?
We're literally moving on from your New Year's resolution or revolution. If you tried to break free from the pasta, you made it through a week, 2 weeks maybe, now it's time to go back. But we're not just making hangry, we're ready for some pasta.
Yes.
Not just any pasta, we're gonna bathe this pasta in red wine. In fact, it's gonna be boiled in the red wine, so it's gonna absorb all that deliciousness. So we're gonna get started with, and then some awesome Gulf shrimp.
Did you hear the audience gasp?
I think that was a good gasp.
I heard that, and it was legit. It wasn't like canned, it was like, ooh.
Oh, yeah, there's no sign up here that said, say, ooh. In fact, I think a lot of times, you give me a hard time about chefing it up, and I hear that from a lot of our studio audience and from people at home as well, send me messages. I want you to know that most of what we're preparing today was written down in this chicken scratch about an hour ago. So if I can pull this together in an hour on just a piece of paper, I know you guys can do it at home with my direction and a little bit of insight on some of the ingredients that we're using.
It's true, he really can do that, but the problem is I can't do that. He's had years of pulling this together, like ideas, and he knows what ingredients goes with what. All I know is I like mashed potatoes and I like steak. And I like a dinner roll. And
well,
I can put that together.
You like pasta and shrimp, because that's what we're having tonight.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, if you have red wine, white wine maybe, but especially red wine that's left over.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen, but this is a good excuse to open up a new bottle of red wine or two. We're gonna take this to a boil, so why don't you start dumping that in. If you wanna speed up the process, if you kind of spin it, creates a little siphon, so that's why I finished mine a little sooner than hers.
You started before me. There you go.
I'm surprised you didn't leave any. Yeah, I was going to say there wasn't much left this time.
Golly, that was good. Let's open another one.
That's a good excuse to open another one. We're going to reduce this down by half. That's going to cook the alcohol out because we don't want to have alcohol left in the food. It's going to make the pasta taste off. So we'll reduce this by about half. If you only have one bottle of red wine that you're wanting to use, then reduce it by half and then add the same amount of water back to it. Okay. And then you'll be able to boil the pasta in that. It's gonna add this depth of flavor I know you guys are gonna love. A little bit of tang, so a little bit of acidity, which I think is great. And also the cool thing is it gives it some color. So you've got like a whitish pasta or an egg pasta, and it brings it to a more vibrant color. If you don't wanna use wine for it, then y'all could use like a vegetable juice. Beet juice, for example, or any vegetable juice. It's going to add the flavor and nutrition to the pasta.
Let me ask you, were you drinking wine when you came up with this concept?
I plead the fifth. There's usually wine involved when it comes to my chicken scratch on the paper there. So
all right.
We're going to roast some garlic. The garlic is going to become roasted, really sweet and caramelized. It's going to go with our Gulf shrimp that we're going to put some herbs with as well.
Good.
So I'm cutting off the top.
Okay.
And then we're going to peel the outside off.
Entirely or just a little bit?
As much as you can, just easy.
Okay.
And then we'll just take some aluminum foil. And I'm not a big fan of cooking directly in the aluminum. It can put an off taste to your food.
Right.
So I'm gonna first put that garlic onto parchment paper. A little bit of olive oil, some salt, some pepper. And I tell you what, why don't I have you wrap this up for me? So wrap that parchment paper around the garlic and put it in this foil.
Okay. So you're gonna cook it parchment, then foil?
Right.
All right. There we go.
We'll put that on a sheet tray. Always use a sheet tray for this. All it takes is one time having the foil tear and having your oven filled with garlic juice that's burnt to the inside, that you won't make that mistake again. That's gonna cook at 375 degrees for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the size of the garlic.
And your house is gonna smell so good.
It's gonna be delicious.
Yes.
And now one thing I am going to put into our red wine mixture, because the alcohol will still cook out of it and they'll become an even more vibrant color, are some fresh cremini mushrooms from our favorite source, which is Kitchen Pride. So these are grown in Gonzales, Texas, and look how white those are.
I know, they're perfect.
Why don't you pop off a couple of those stems?
Everyone is perfect.
I'm going to slice these.
Okay.
And they're going to become really soft and tender as they're cooking through in the red wine. You trying to keep up with my slicing?
Keep going, keep going. Last one, there you go.
All right, so we'll just make sure they're not stuck together. Put those in.
Okay.
Take that up to a boil, reduce it by half. We're gonna put the garlic into the oven for, as I mentioned, 30 to 45 minutes.
400.
At 400 degrees or 375, and then you guys will be ready to roll.
It's gonna start smelling good in here. You better come back, we got a break. In the house is standing right over this pot of wine with these beautiful mushrooms down inside. We had a couple of questions about the wine.
Right.
My question was, does it have to be cheap wine or can it be cheap wine?
It's a definition of cheap wine. I would say it can be inexpensive wine, but I wouldn't use cheap wine. You don't want to use this sweet wine. I would say, I mean, finding like a $5 to $7 bottle would definitely be fine.
That's
As you
cheap.
mentioned. That's cheap, right? But it's not a low quality. Like you definitely don't want to use like a Riesling or a sweet red or a Moscato or any of those.
Okay.
And Pam had asked about the reason I might have had two different bottles.
Yeah.
Typically after a party, you've opened up a variety of different wines, so you're going to go with the ones that are open that are left over. I do encourage you, if you can, to avoid like a really heavy Cabernet, because it's going to have a lot of tannins that will stay in the wine, which will transfer over to the food. So that part that kind of gives your mouth like a drying effect. You want a wine that doesn't have a whole lot of that. So Merlot, Pinot Noir, Tempranillo, Sangiovese, I mean, a lot of most of the blends will be fine. I just wouldn't go with like a big Cabernet. That's better for your glass.
Yeah.
So that's gonna cook down by about half and absorb all into the mushrooms. We're gonna get ready for our shrimp over here. This is our shrimp cooking liquid. Why don't you pop the top off of that?
Okay.
So we're taking this water up to a boil. And these are some vegetables. Why don't you add those in? I want to get some flavor in the shrimp if we're going to boil the shrimp. So I'll take, even if it's left over, some carrots or celery, some garlic. Definitely want to put salt and pepper in here.
Right.
At some point, we'll put some lemon juice in as well. And you think about it, I mean, as shrimp are cooking, they're starting to get the flavor of what they're in. So definitely don't use regular water. And I want to doctor up with actually my favorite spice shop. They're out of Houston, but you can order from them all over the state. It's called Savory Spice, and they're actually one of the only places outside of an Asian food store that has sashimi togarashi, which I've used a number of times on steak. I finally found a source for you guys to order from Savory Spice in Houston, Texas. So we'll put about a tablespoon of that in. They freshly crack their black pepper once a week, so if y'all don't want to crack your black pepper at home all the time, I'm always talking about fresh cracked black pepper. Cool thing about Savory Spice, you can actually get it in half-ounce portions, so just a really small portion and just continuously replenish it, but not when it still has the cap on it. That was real fresh. All right, so a little bit of black pepper. And now let's cut some shrimps open. Come on over, Amy. Shrimps, yeah, I know that's not the proper plural name of shrimp. These are Gulf shrimp. Delicious tail on. Here's
shrimp eye.
Shrimp eye.
What is it? Shrimpies?
The shrimp, just shrimp.
Okay, go
shrimp
ahead.
eye, the Latin verb, Latin word. What I will tell you is that as a chef, I have always been told and generally cook with the shell on. That being said, because we're going to toss this in a sauce afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and cook it with the shell off, but I'm going to show you guys how to protect the shrimp so that it doesn't get overcooked on the outside here in a second. But here's how we peel and devein. We just cut right into it.
Okay.
Cut back up the spine.
Okay.
Peel this off on the sides. And I'm going to leave the tail on, and I got the vein out just like that. So why don't you get started on those?
I'm not even kidding. Every job I get handed is the dirty job.
She offered to help out today. She peeled roasted garlic and chopped a bunch of onions without her normal. Oh, you weren't supposed to cut the tail.
Dishes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's a perfect job. I intended for you to cut the tail off. So while she's cleaning those, we've got the red wine cooking down. We've got the shrimp liquid infusing from all of those vegetables. We're gonna get ready to cook the shrimp, cook the pasta, make the sauce, and do a little crouton for the top of that the pasta dish
And
as
I'll
well.
probably mop and sweep the floors too before it's all over. So y'all stay tuned.
I know when not to comment.
Moving on with this wine, pasta, and shrimp. We got the shrimp cleaned up.
We're ready to cook them.
Let's do it.
We are. So a couple things. First, the pasta's gonna take a little bit longer. So we'll put that in now. Most of the alcohol, if not all of it's been cooked out. Remember, we've got those delicious Texas mushrooms in there from Kitchen Pride.
Yeah.
This is some fresh linguine. So it's only gonna take about 5 minutes to cook through. If you're using dried, you're looking at about 8 to 12 minutes.
Right.
So we'll let that get cooked through.
Pasta waits for nobody. It's got to be perfect.
It does need to be perfect. And one thing that will actually help you out, keep the pasta water from boiling over, is to put a utensil down in the pan. That'll break the surface tension of any of the bubbles that are coming up, so it's less likely to boil over the top. If you use the whole, how many of y'all heard the old school,
The wooden spoon over the top?
by the time it hits the top, you're cleaning up your range anyway. It's
Right.
going over. It's too late.
That's what
then.
happens in my house every time.
All right, so we've got the shrimp. We've got that flavorful liquid with those vegetables cooking down. Why don't you
Yeah.
dump the shrimp in
Okay. With the tails.
with the tails? Now here's the key. Turn off the heat
Okay.
and remove it from that burner that was hot. And the reason is if we're boiling the shrimp, the outside of it's constantly getting hotter and hotter and hotter, so the outside's gonna get chewy before
Right.
the inside cooks through.
Okay.
So if you're not gonna do that, you could steam it, but if you wanna do a big batch of it, it would take too long to steam. So I just like to take it to a boil, put the shrimp in, leave them in for 5 to 8 minutes. So
All right.
again, about the same cooking time that we've got the pasta right now, and we're gonna be good to go. So let's toast
Amazing.
the bread. I like a little bit of texture. You hold that for me. A little bit of texture on the pasta. We want a little crunch. So we're gonna toast this bread. So push that down in there.
Okay. There we
I'm
go.
getting gutsy now.
Yeah. So
All
I
right.
like my bread crunchy and buttery.
And that's what we're going for. In fact, even if you had, a lot of chefs now are using burnt toast for things like that. It's really kind of interesting. If you just sprinkle a little bit on there, even on your ice cream, it adds a little like nutty caramel sort of texture. Yeah, burnt toast,
Burnt
right?
toast
A little
is-
something new.
That sounds really cool.
So now you can blame me
Yeah.
the next time you burn your toast.
Well, I don't want to really burn this. We better keep an eye on that. It's getting toasty.
Is it getting toasted?
Yeah.
Okay, so we roasted that garlic. Why don't you start taking these herbs and
Okay.
squeezing some of the juice into here?
Put the herbs in here as well.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I've got that roasted garlic.
All of them.
Why don't you do about half? It's gonna be entertaining to watch you puree this.
Okay.
Oh, look at
There's
that.
that roasted garlic.
And start squeezing some of that citrus in. These are some
Yeah.
Texas oranges and some Meyer lemons.
Oh man, this is really perfect right now. This juice is gorgeous.
This is extra virgin olive oil, some Texas extra virgin olive oil.
All right.
All right. Salt,
Yes.
pepper. I'm gonna not burn your bread.
Yeah, flip that.
And you're so good with the stick blender.
Yep, I'm becoming a professional. Hold on.
Practice at home
Did
now,
you want
right?
all this?
Not really, but that's fine.
May I hold your towel,
We were
please?
gonna put one of those lemons in with the shrimp, but that's okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep, start pureeing.
Here we go.
Y'all can make this about,
Everybody say your prayers.
stand back. Y'all can make this about 5 days ahead of time. It's gonna hold up good and still stay green in your refrigerator, primarily from that olive oil. It's gonna protect the green color of your sauce. So right now we've got the pasta cooking up. We've got the shrimp kind of infusing the flavor, getting cooked through.
Huh?
She's finishing up the sauce, and after this break, we'll be ready to put it all together.
It's gonna be good.
All right, we're back in my favorite spot, the Southern Wolf Prep Kitchen, where Texas ingredients come to play. Today we're gonna do a fork and knife pizza and salad. This isn't gonna be something you're gonna pick up like a fast pizza. This is gonna be much more delicious, a lot of fresh ingredients. Good kickoff to the new year, because it's gonna be some pretty healthy stuff. All right, we've got some Texas pecan wood smoked bacon, some of my favorite. We're gonna render that grease down. I know I said this is going to be a healthy start to the year. What a lot of people don't realize is that one slice of bacon only has about 5 grams of fat and about 60 calories. So we'll use our calories wisely. As the fat starts to render out, I'm going to put in some sweet onions, some of our kitchen fried mushrooms out of Gonzales, Texas. Okay, I'm gonna cook this until it's nice and caramelized, which is gonna take about 5 minutes, which will be perfect because that's how long it's gonna take for my flatbread to crisp up with some delicious, freshly grated or shredded Parmesan cheese. Okay, so we're starting to get some caramelization on our onions and our mushrooms and our bacon. I'm gonna add in about 2 cloves of garlic. Get that stirred in to start cooking. Then some Marfa, Texas tomatoes. These are little miniature San Marzanos, beautiful red color. Cook those until they start to soften. I've got a bunch of little brown bits of deliciousness in the bottom of the pan. So I'm gonna pull those off by pouring a little bit of limoncello. So if life gives you lemons, I drink limoncello. That's what we're gonna deglaze with, to use the fancy chef word. So now those brown bits are gonna come off. I'm gonna cook this for about 2 more minutes and we'll add our spinach and we'll get our finished product. Okay, we're about ready to finish this off with that delicious spinach and kale. I'm gonna grab my platter here. Get our flatbread, which you can buy this at an Indian restaurant. It's called naan. I use parchment paper so that it wouldn't burn to my bake stone. We'll just slide that off right to the center. Take my Oak Hill Farm spinach, put that in, some baby kale, get that with a little bit of salt. And this is a salad, so I'm gonna use a little bit of vinegar. This is a Chardonnay vinegar, but any white wine vinegar will do. Spinach is starting to wilt. Let's plate this up. Okay, to finalize it, we're gonna take a little bit of Texas goat cheese outside of Houston, crumble that chev on, French for goat cheese. Then some Gilbert pecan, toasted pecans. And if that's not a fork and knife, pizza and salad, I don't know what is. I'm ready to dive in.
The time has come to get this beautiful dish plated. But first, we want to show y'all something really funny. Did you know that Taste Texas is celebrating their 30th episode? That's right, 30 episodes of food and fun and
trouble.
So we packaged the bloopers for your enjoyment. Take a look. Oh my God, Garth, be careful.
I need to talk with the knife, Amy.
Well, anyway.
Okay, so that's looking pretty good.
I wasn't quite paying attention to that. I'm sorry. Want to taste?
Oh, God.
Make it pretty, okay?
Make it pretty.
Too much?
Or a half a cup. That's fine, too.
Oh, shoot.
So y'all should probably measure it separately at home and pour that in.
Did I just kill the kale? I killed the kale. Continuing your job over there, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna have more good stuff. Just a pinch and pull. That's not bad. This mama's full.
There is no better field sheet than this one. Buffy, like the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm out. I gotta
And she thinks you're a vampire. Come on, giddy up, Buffy, giddy up. Come on, Buffy, go get her.
Get you some
Come on, Buffy.
Right
Get her, Buffy,
I know
get her.
exactly where you're
Get her, Buffy.
This way.
Get her, Buffy. So So that was my grilled chicken with the lemon marinade topped with the fresh mozzarella company mozzarella and Amelia's Farm tomato with a little Generation Farms basil on top of some char-grilled asparagus with espresso crust that we then drizzled a little bit of Texas Hill Country olive oil balsamic vinegar that was reduced for about 2 years. We also had the additional Texas Olive Ranch olive oil. It all comes together for a delicious 5-minute meal. You're such a spaz.
Oh, Garth, if it wasn't for you.
Oh, we had some fun. Some of it, fortunately, was not on tape, like the police chase and a few of the other things that are probably not supposed to be mentioned. Anyhow, so let's go back to the pasta.
We'll
We're pulling
tell you
that out. I've got some Oak Hill Farm spinach that I like to put in fresh and allow the heat from the pasta to wilt it.
Yes.
This is from Poteet, Texas, outside of San Antonio. And then a nice, healthy serving of, well, maybe not quite that healthy.
I was gonna say, that's healthy.
That's what you usually add to it. Of Texas butter. So we'll toss that in. And why don't you pull the shrimp out?
Okay. Just the shrimp, no veggies?
No veggies.
One at a time, all of them?
Why don't you put them in that bowl right there?
All right. You didn't tell me that part.
Oh, you're right, I did not.
All
We're
right.
gonna mix those with the sauce once you get a few of them in.
Okay. These are perfect. I can't believe how they just sat and cooked away with no water.
And you'll see it's not boiling, so I'm not overcooking the outside of those shrimp.
Right. I want to mention to everybody that you can get our recipe that we made here today on our website, and that is tastetexastv.com. And then you can also follow us on all the social medias, which of course is Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. We're on all of those. Okay, here's your shrimp, chef.
Awesome. Did you toss the sauce on?
No. You want this sauce on that?
Please.
Okay, all of it?
About half, 3/4
Okay.
of it. Little chef tip for getting height is use your tongs to twist the pasta that's gonna pull it together. And that'll bring my height up some.
Pretty, really pretty. And look how gorgeous and green this shrimp is.
We've got some freshly shaved aged Parmigiano Reggiano.
Ooh, I think I heard them say that again.
I think so.
They just said that.
Goes perfect with our, what'd you name the pasta?
This is called Drunken Pasta and Shrimp. I like my title. Do y'all? It's not really drunk, but we can pretend it is. Okay, and then we
Get
put
drunk
the shrimp
while we
on
eat
top?
it. Yeah, we're off to the side, whatever. And these were our crispy breadcrumbs, so we kind of made croutons in a pan.
Pretty.
Still got a little bit of bite to it.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
And if you want to chef it up a little bit, the other thing you can do with your shrimp is
Just eat it.
interlock them. So we've got that little tail combo that might go well on the top.
Oh, how cute. Okay, well, you know what? There's one left that doesn't belong on that plate and it belongs right in my mouth. So,
While she enjoys that, y'all can check out our recipe online.
Thanks
We'll see y'all
for
next
joining us.
week.
Bye, y'all.